Welcome back, guys. We've got chest day, push day, chest day, whatever you want to call it. I think there's a lot of names for the training splits now. Now, push day, chest, shoulders, tricep, that's literally all it is. Now, the reason why we pair the days up is pretty simple. Training volume is always based around what you need. Now, I still need pretty much everything, so it would pretty much be a waste of time for me just to do a shoulder day. I can get shoulders done in 15 minutes, realistically, if I really want to. So for me, push day makes most sense. Now, if you're someone as big as Rami or one of the heavier muscle guys, you may actually need a bro split or a variation of a bro split. So don't just look at training splits or training variations or different names for different sessions and try and demonize them, because they all serve a purpose, and there's patterns that you can see with guys that do certain splits or certain training with the size that they need to attain in first place. What you'll notice, guys, they'll always lean towards splits like the upper lower or push-pull legs. Then once they've reached that size, they scale that back to almost like a Dorian split with two body parts, and they kind of work from there. So look, today we're going to take you through push. It's going to be definitely a fun session, starting with the Smith machine, then high incline dumbbell. Dumbbell work has been introduced, and it's definitely some of my favourite lifts. So we're going to get stuck in. We've got Mark, we've got Jamie in for a session today as well. So we'll get after it, and we'll show you some shit. So let's get it. Exercise number 1, rope crunch. To be honest, I don't really class this as an exercise because it's not really challenging, but for me, this is just more of a prehab and warm up. So what I'll do here, I specifically want to reach forward as I come into the stretch, inhale on the way up, and then sharp exhale on the way down, crunching my core down as tight as I can, making sure I get as much flexion and extension on my spine as possible. So it's both an ab movement and a functional movement to get my serratus working and mobilise my spine before I get into my pressing. You see a lot of people these days coming to the gym and do loads of rehab work or prehab work. Now, I'm gonna be very honest, every time I get a message in my inbox, people asking me, what should I do to warm up? It should be your actual first exercise. Your movements are your mobility work. There's not a single exercise done correctly that will not address most issues you have in place. Don't get me wrong, if you've got a specific injury, yes, you might need something specific prior to your sessions. However, if you have not, your prep work is your first warm-up set. So do not neglect productive work for the sake of wasting 15 minutes of your life and training time doing the stuff that is not going to benefit you or your development.
Right, exercise number 1, the Incline Cable Fly raise. This is an excellent movement to start your session. Now, what you'll notice, every single push workout for myself, even if it's a chest dominant workout, it will always start with a variation of a lateral raise or a Y raise. Now, reason for that is performing a lateral raise before my presses does not take away from performance from my presses. However, it allows me to get a lot more movement out of my shoulder joint, and it somewhat primes me and gets my body ready to work for the big lifts ahead. And realistically, you can never have big enough or wide enough shoulders when it comes to your front shots. Whether it's your front relaxed, most muscular, or even from the side or back shots, you know, having wide shoulders and well-developed shoulders is always going to work in your favors. Across every single class, whether you're a men's physique athlete, a classic physique athlete, or a men's open bodybuilder, having broad and well-developed shoulders is always going to work in your favor. So why the line cuffed Y raise, and why do I do it on the floor? The reason why I do it on the floor is just easier setup and more of a standardized setup. If I do it on a bench, I will always put myself in a position where I don't quite get the right setup, or the bench is a little bit too further away or too far out, and it's a little bit more of a faff to get the job done. And when the gym is busy, obviously all the benches do get used, so you have to go to the other side of the gym, bring the bench across. For me, it's just much easier to lay on the floor, keep myself standardized, and have the same setup for every single session with no variance. This allows me to not only progress with a standardized setup, but also allows me to keep standardization across my program for that lift. Now, super effective lift for your side and rear delt, and somewhat of a functional movement as well, which challenges the delt in that above the head range, which makes it an ideal movement to grow huge shoulders, and an ideal movement for shoulder health as well.
I never really go into any pressing motion these days without at least doing one set of flies, just to get plenty of blood in my pec. My goal here is to move as much load as I physically can whilst using my pecs. I'm a bodybuilder at the end of the day, so my goal is to build tissue, not just move load. So doing this allows me to actually keep tension on the pecs rather than everything else whilst I'm at it.
Exercise number 2, lower incline Smith machine. My favorite non-optimal exercise. And the reason why it's not optimal, because it does not converge. However, that still makes it a great exercise. Why? It's super safe. It allows me to load a lot of weight and still stay accurate and keep it on the muscle tissue with standardized range of motion, being able to sink the bar onto my chest, take a slight pause, and then drive through nice and hard, contracting my pecs at the top. So I can make this lift as easy or as hard as I want. You can make any lift more beneficial through changing the cues and position, or even your execution with this lift. Now, as you can see here, guys, my grip is a little bit more narrow, which means that I do get more range of motion, and my arm path is more in line with my pecs. Keeping my arm path in the same place and making sure that I still get a ton of range of motion through my pecs, allowing to get full range of motion in place in that stretch, pausing onto my chest, and then driving through and contracting my pecs nice and hard. Exercise number 3, which is the high incline dumbbell press. Now, the reason why we're following a high incline is because the previous exercise was a 30-degree incline, which more so targeted the pec and the upper portion of the pec. Now, this exercise is going to target more so the upper portion of the pec, the clavicle, and the front delt. So it's an ideal movement to follow up on after the low incline Smith. Now, Personally, my chest development needs more attention over my delts. So both my push days actually have prioritization as exercise number 1 with a 30-degree incline Smith, which for me personally suits me the most to really target my pecs and the upper portion of the pec. So high incline dumbbell press, making sure that I still get full range of motion, taking the dumbbells nice and deep, literally just a hair away or even sink them onto my pecs when I am able to do so, and then drive through nice and hard, again contracting my pecs as I come up. And as you can see here, guys, as much range of motion as possible, really allowing to open up my chest, coming to that stretch. And the cue that I love for pressing is I literally actively think about rowing my hands down and back, pausing a deep stretch, and then drive through nice and hard to get full contraction. Following from the high incline dumbbell, we have got the dip machine. Now, the way I perform the dip machine, it's to target both the lower pec, front delt, and the tricep. So it's an ideal compound movement to finish my compound work for the push day, which will target inevitably all the push muscles, both front delt, lower pec, and the tricep. Again, full range of motion here, allowing my shoulders to go into full retraction and then full depression as I extend. Exercise number 5, Incline Cable Fly. Now, this is one of my favorite fly variations. The way I'm performing this is I am allowing my arms to come into slight bend, again, lifting up my chest, really opening up my chest and rib cage as I come into a stretch, pausing a deep stretch, and as I'm coming through, I'm aiming for my bicep to get jammed into my pecs. So my goal here is for my elbows to meet in the middle, not my hands. If your hands are touching, you are simply allowing your shoulders to protract way too much. So try and avoid that and always aim for your elbows to meet together in the middle, aiming to contract your pecs as hard as possible. Isolation work, always chase pain over load and make sure that you contract and stimulate the muscle that you're trying to train as hard as you physically can. Make those lifts harder rather than easier, as you would do everything, but especially making sure that you really create as much tension as possible on the isolation work.
Right, so finishing off with some isolation work now for the chest portion of the session. Now after this, we are gonna have single arm cable lateral. The way we'll set this up is we're gonna go behind the back. So the reason for that is just keeping our arm more in line with the scapular plane. Basically, it's just fancy words that says keeping your arm in a position where it doesn't hurt your shoulder and keeps in a plane of motion that's comfortable for your arm to abduct. So 3 sets here, 3 sets on the lateral, then tricep, and then we'll finish with some metabolic work to finish off on, which is going to be a press up.
Following on from exercise number 5, exercise number 6 is going to be behind the back single arm cable lateral. The reason for doing it behind the back, it allows us to stay more in the scapular plane, which in fancy words means that we keep our arm more in line or in plane of motion where you are able to abduct your arm with no pain. So if you do find yourself doing it in a lateral raise and you are in pain, the likelihood is you are working in plane of motion that your arm is not meant to abduct out in. So try and play around with your position. For me personally, I prefer having my upper arm 15 to 20 degrees in front of my rib cage, as you can see here, guys. And then the cues that I love from here is driving my fist into the ground, scraping the knuckles across the floor, and then up. Again, controlling the end ranges, taking a pause at the top, and taking a pause in the stretch. Exercise number 7, cross-body tricep extension. Again, making the lift as hard as possible. Again, the function of a tricep is full flexion at the elbow and then extension. So that is exactly what we're trying to mimic here. Elbows nice and high, bracing my upper arm into my lat. And then my goal here is to extend my fist down and back, contracting my tricep as hard as I physically can, and then coming back into the stretch and lift my elbow up gently, trying to create as much distance between my elbow and my hand to get as much flexion at the elbow as possible to stretch the tricep, spend a little bit of time in the stretch, and then contract. Do not explode your way out of there. Now, last but not least, the overhead tricep extension. One of my favorite tricep movements that challenges and biases more towards the lengthened range and biases the long head of your tricep. The long head of your tricep makes up majority of your arm. Therefore, this movement is a movement that I would definitely prioritize if you are looking to build the meaty portion of your tricep that shows up the most in a front double bicep. And the way I like to perform this movement is, as I come into stretch, I like to pull my elbow gently out to the side and away, trying to create as much distance between my hand and the elbow, pausing a deep stretch, and again, contracting my way out of there. And the easiest way to mimic this is, imagine like you are a samurai and you are pulling a sword from behind your back. That is the same perpendicular motion that I want you to try on this lift. Again, making it as hard as possible and trying to really contract your way out of that deep stretch and spending a little bit of time in that deep stretch.
Breathe. 10 left. Stop. Hold. 5, 4, 4, 3, 2.
Yep. Fuck. Ah. Fuck me. So do you know when you're doing an ab and thigh?
Yeah.
Let your air out. Squeeze. Completely let it out. Lean back. Small breaths in and out and keep this tight. Keep this in. I'm behind you. Small breaths in and out. Keep it in. Get it all in. In. Harder every time. Harder, harder. Come on, hold. I want at least 30 seconds, Jamie. 20 seconds left. Come on. Keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing. 10 seconds. Come on, get our midsection in. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right guys, so I'm just sat in our new podcast studio at UltraFlex Rotherham. So that is a session wrap up, and I definitely enjoyed today. It's great to train with people like Jamie. You know, he's pretty switched on. So as you can see, there wasn't really that much queuing that we needed to do. We could just enjoy the session and both really get after it. So great to see him. I think he's going to be over in UK for a little while as well, which is amazing. So great to get a session in. I followed Jamie for years. You know, he's been an awesome bodybuilder and great coach as well. So it was great having him down today. So had a big team over today as well. A lot of pros turning up every single day at the gym. So the vibe is definitely absolutely immense, and I cannot wait to show you the premises once the refurb is actually done. But massive thank you for tuning in, guys. Big push day done. Hopefully you will have got a lot of value out of the session, and anything you want to cover for the future, please comment below and let me know, guys. But I appreciate you all. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you again soon. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Help me out, grow the channel so I can do more videos for you and help you out even more. Thank you guys. Take care for now. Peace out.